I was involved in American field service, not so much being involved, but my wife was involved, and she was an exchange student in Missouri, and she was after high school. She was in Kangapolis.
Excellent experience.
And right after that, it just changes so many things. Perception. Just 1 year of doing that EFS. And when I was saying, when we were living in Perlis, I was working with we host so many students, who got lost. The students who are American field service students who were sent to Perlis but couldn't survive, almost went crazy because the environment was so rough for them. This kid from New Mexico became, he's now probably 35 years old. It's not because at first probably he'll just go missing in the jungle in Thailand, for example, because he couldn't manage. But because, was able to mediate, and he always comes to our house and was able to explain to him, this is what Malay culture is about. Why don't you go home and talk to your grandfather like this? This is what it is about. So sometimes he cried because it's painful. It's like all of us here, right? You understand the feelings of others from different race. As we had 3 or 4 people, one German, one kid from Austria, we always bring them close to them. But over here in America, the same thing. You're all visitors, and make full use of your visit, whether it's 4 years or 5 years. Talk to people. You will improve your language a lot. Improve a lot. Understand and make yourself very clear. You will improve your speaking skills, public speaking skills. And when you go for the interview, this is a test. Right? When you go home, this is a test, not to test whether you pick up the slang in New York or California, but a test if you can express your ideas very well. Whether you are applying for a job in the private sector or the government sector, it will always be, that's the mark. The skills that you acquire, the content that you acquire while you're studying, and also the ideas that you express well. These are the ingredients of getting, it's not easy to get jobs now. But these are the ingredients. Sometimes people get jobs just by talking to people, and then after that giving your resume, because that 1 hour of conversation with people you can tell, say that I can tell, but after talking to people, one person, 1 hour or less, I could somewhat tell, because the mind process information by listening to the language, body language, for example, understanding just a quick question, then you can extract information. How much do you think the person knows? These other things, skills.
We'd like to hear your views.
Yeah.
Well, I've been mingling with the locals around, and my roommates are 1 French and 2 Americans. The only thing that hinders communication between the 4 of us is that whenever I talk to them, that is the Americans, they have, you know that they're holding back something when they talk to you. That is as if there's a lot going on in their mind. Will I offend him? Will I, and things like that. You can actually see. And sometimes when you want to ask, you go some questions, and they will answer with a one-liner, and that's it. And they won't explore, they won't deplore further. And then, but that is, I'm not trying to say that it's racial based or something, but when I talk to the Mexicans, they're more friendly towards each other, and the blacks, they're more open. There's no barrier when they want to talk to us. So how would you adapt to that?
Conversation is an art. It's also a style. And also understand cross-cultural aspect of communication. Speak to Mexicans are happy to speak to you because all of you look like Mexicans. True. You speak to African American. If you speak to an African American man, a young man, they speak like a Malaysian, using Malaysian English, probably they will be holding things back. But if you go up to them and say, yo, what's up, dog? Then they'll be shocked. They say, where did you learn this? Man, I've been listening to Jay-Z, 50 Cent. That is the art of communicating. But the process of getting to that stage and being accepted itself is, I'm not saying that I do, but if I think if I walk down the streets of Harlem and speak to people, they'll think that I'm their people. We cannot speak to them like that. When I go down to Johor and speak to the former drug addicts, "Oi Mat, lu gua ni minta 10 Mat. Lu gua, that's an art. Johorians don't say saya, kamu. You're in the rock music community, you have to use the word lu gua, right? And you have to know how to play Led Zeppelin's The Stairway to Heaven.
Let's wrap
Know
up.
the culture. You can lecture to them about the evils of heavy metal music, then they'll be your friend. Art, right? It is not how much you know, but the art of communicating. This is fluidity of what whoever, Malays, Chinese, Indians, have to learn. Right? Once you do this, you can master your environment. Sun Tzu, Art of War, right? Know thyself, know thy enemies, 100 battles, 100 victories. And if you want to conquer the terrain, go there early in the morning. Survey, attack at night when people are sleeping. Not asking you to go to war, Sun Tzu. Because in many places, people use Sun Tzu Art of War, even in universities. The art of business. It's not to kill and overkill people, but at least the wisdom is that know thyself, know thy enemies, 100 battles, 100 victories. Isn't that very religious also? Kenallah diri kamu rata-rata, dan saya kamu akan mengenal Tuhan yang nyata. Awaluddin ma'rifatullah. The beginning of religion is to know Allah.
How many share his sentiment? Just your hand. Which is that, you know, when you talk to Masale, they're holding back.
Yeah, when I first in college, yeah, that's the case. But once you start, like, they know that you know their culture, they start to treat you differently.
How did you break that?
You start learning what they
How did you
listen,
learn?
what they listen to. If you go to metal people, you start saying, drop few like things like Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and they start open up. We are the same tribe.
Yeah.
That's how you start like watching them, because they don't understand you. How do you make them understand you? So you gotta learn what they understand,
Yeah.
and from them they start like curious about you. So
That's true. If you look at the cultural aspect of human interaction is very, very important. You know, how you speak to each other. That's all based on culture. The Mexicans and Sicilians and Italians open up like this, and Azly with Anglo-Saxon very quiet. And so we have to know that. But there are two avenues of human interaction that are universally there's no barrier to it. Anybody guess what the two are? I'll give an example of where human interactions, there's not much cultural component there. And one is what? Music. That's the best way for you to know the Masales, or anyone of any other culture, through music. You play a musical instrument with them, you break the barrier. That's one. Because once you're in music, it doesn't matter what your color your skin is, your color, your voice was counted, and how well you play. That's the easiest thing to do. So my suggestion for you is take music, whatever your roommate plays guitar, you play guitar together, and that's the best way. Choir singing, you like the choir singing, that's the best way. Because then you're on that music. Then you focus not on race, not on your culture, but how well you can sing, how well you can play the musical instrument. The second thing is sports. And that's why in the two enterprises in America where the blacks make the most advances, entertainment industry and the sports industry. And the other because when you're in sports, if you can throw the ball well, you throw the ball well. People don't look at your color, right? I mean, talking like this, you can bullshit your way, but you can throw the ball. There's no way. So get interested with it. Join one way for this is you got a league here playing basketball. Hey, why don't you challenge one of the fraternities to play basketball? That's one way to break barriers.